You grew up watching him boldly go where no man had gone before, but what if I told you that while William Shatner was saving galaxies, as Captain Kirk, his real life was falling apart behind the cameras, jealousy, betrayal, even homelessness. At 93, the truth is finally out. When we think of Star Trek, we picture friendship, courage, and adventure among the stars. But the reality on set was far darker. Hidden rivalries, betrayals, and crushing personal sacrifices followed William Shatner through every chapter of his life. And now, in his 90s, he's revealing the price he paid to become Captain Kirk. Want to support our channel? Join the Echo Insider. Just hover over the Echo Insider icon, click and watch new videos before anyone else. William Shatner didn't just enter the world, he stormed into it. On March 22nd, 1931, Montreal was hit with a record-breaking snowstorm. The streets were buried, hospitals unreachable, and his mother had no choice but to deliver him at home in the middle of chaos. From his very first breath, life was unpredictable, dramatic, and dangerous. Almost like fate was writing the first act of a story that would one day make him Captain Kirk. But Shatner wasn't born into comfort. Growing up in a Jewish immigrant family during the Great Depression meant money was tight and expectations were high. His parents wanted stability for him, maybe economics, law, or medicine. But young Bill had something else in his blood, the stage. At just 8 years old, while other kids were still playing marbles on the sidewalk, he was attending a children's acting school run by one of Canada's top actresses. By the age of 10, he was already earning paychecks as a professional actor. Imagine that, barely old enough to ride a bike, and he's already performing in CBC radio productions like The Magic Flute. Soon, critics raved about his stage presence when he played Tom Sawyer in a local play. That confidence, that spark, it wasn't normal for a kid. It was the start of something far bigger. But even as his talent grew, his school life crumbled. At McGill University in 1948, he studied economics, not because he cared about it, but because his parents insisted. Deep down, he hated it. He skipped lectures, avoided homework, and secretly lived for the thrill of the stage. By 1950, he was sneaking into the campus theater, writing and starring in plays so good that CBC producers started taking notice. It wasn't long before he got his first shot on television. Shatner wasn't just chasing dreams. He was already breaking the rules, rebelling against the life his family wanted for him. And that rebellious streak, it would follow him all the way to Hollywood and nearly destroy him. By 1956, Shatner had enough of Canada. If he was going to make it, he had to be in the center of the world, New York City. He packed his bags, left everything behind, and took the biggest gamble of his life. He was just 25 years old, broke, and trying to break into Broadway, a jungle where most actors starved before they ever got noticed. His debut came with a show called Tamburlaine the Great. Sounds epic, right? In reality, it bombed. The play closed after just 20 performances. Most young actors would have gone home defeated, but Shatner wasn't built that way. He wasn't a polished, classically trained Shakespearean type. He was raw, he was hungry, he was willing to claw his way in by any means necessary. And slowly, it started to work. He began stacking up TV credits through the late 1950s and early 1960s, landing roles in shows like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Defenders, and The Outer Limits. But the real turning point came with The Twilight Zone. His 2 episodes weren't just popular, they became legendary. In Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, Shatner played a man slowly losing his mind on a plane, convinced a monster was hiding on the wing. It wasn't just acting, it was electrifying. The sheer dramatic, the tension, the vulnerability, audiences couldn't look away. That role didn't just showcase his talent, it branded him, the man who could unravel on screen in a way that felt almost too real. But here's the catch, Hollywood has a cruel sense of humor. That intensity, that ability to portray a man under pressure, would later be both his ticket to stardom and the reason his life spiraled into chaos. Because when you're that convincing, when you carry that much energy, the line between the character and the man starts to blur. And for Shatner, it was about to blur in ways that left scars he'd carry forever. By 1965, William Shatner was working steadily, but he was far from a household name. He was just another TV actor hustling from guest role to guest role. Nobody could have predicted that he was about to step into a role that would define him and also nearly destroy him. At first, Shatner wasn't even supposed to be captain of the Enterprise. That job belonged to Jeffrey Hunter, who played Captain Christopher Pike in the original pilot. But NBC executives hated it. Too slow, too intellectual, too weird. They wanted something faster, sharper, something with punch. Hunter bailed, and suddenly the chair at the center of the bridge was empty. That's when producers turned to Shatner. He watched the rejected pilot and was blunt about it. Stiff acting, boring delivery, no spark. Shatner wasn't interested in playing another military stereotype. If he was going to take the role, he would reinvent it. And reinvent it he did. Shatner's Captain Kirk wasn't just a commander barking orders. He was magnetic, approachable, unpredictable. He'd lean casually over a console, toss out a witty line, then snap into authority when the moment demanded. He wasn't a robot in uniform. He was human, flawed, charming, and sometimes reckless. That made him real in a way TV heroes rarely were at the time. Shatner blended influences to build Kirk, Horatio Hornblower, the naval hero who embodied strategy and courage, and Alexander the Great, whom Shatner had once played in a failed pilot. Add in a touch of humor, and suddenly Kirk wasn't just a character, he was a phenomenon. When Star Trek premiered in 1966, Kirk became the symbol of optimism during one of the most turbulent decades in American history. Fans saw him as a fearless leader exploring the galaxy with confidence and curiosity. But here's the twist. While Kirk became a legend, Shatner himself was about to step into a storm of jealousy, sabotage, and bitter rivalries that would turn the set of Star Trek into a battlefield. On screen, the Enterprise was about unity, courage, and friendship. Off-screen, it was a war zone. Shatner's ambition was legendary. He wanted lines, he wanted screen time, he wanted everything. And that hunger put him on a collision course with his castmates, especially Leonard Nimoy, whose character Spock was becoming a fan favorite. Shatner didn't like sharing the spotlight. In fact, during the filming of the very first season, he deliberately walked into Nimoy's shots again and again, not once, not twice, but 17 times. It was so blatant that the director exploded in anger, and Nimoy threatened to walk off the set entirely if it continued. That was just the beginning. Arguments between Shatner and Nimoy became infamous. In 1968, during the episode The Paradise Syndrome, they nearly shut down production for hours, fighting over how Kirk's amnesia should be portrayed. Shatner demanded intensity, Nimoy pushed for subtlety. Neither would budge until Gene Roddenberry himself stepped in. And it wasn't just Nimoy. Writers accused Shatner of cutting other characters' lines to make more space for himself. During the Trouble with Tribbles, Shatner and Nimoy spent 14 straight hours rewriting dialogue, slashing scenes for other actors. By season 3, cast members were joking bitterly that the show should be called the Shatner-Nimoy Show. Even groundbreaking moments weren't safe from drama. In 1968's Plato's Stepchildren, Shatner filmed the first interracial kiss on American television with Nichelle Nichols. History making, right? But Shatner wasn't so sure. He feared the backlash and asked for alternate takes without the kiss. Nichols refused. Together they sabotaged every alternate shot, exaggerating mistakes so the network had no choice but to air the kiss. To fans, it was a milestone. To the cast, it was just another day of tension and manipulation behind the scenes. The work itself was brutal. Shooting often ran 16 to 22 hours a day. Tempers exploded. People broke down. During the episode The Tholian Web, after 18 hours straight on set, even Shatner snapped. He hurled his script across the room and refused to keep filming. Captain Kirk, the fearless leader, had hit his breaking point. Fans watching at home saw courage, laughter, and unity. But just beyond the cameras, the set of Star Trek was a place of sabotage, resentment, and fragile egos. And at the center of it all, William Shatner, a man determined to stay in the spotlight no matter the cost. On television, Captain Kirk was the ultimate leader. Fearless, loyal, always there when his crew needed him. But behind closed doors, William Shatner was a husband and father who was absent. The grueling Star Trek schedule wasn't just exhausting, it was destructive. 16, sometimes 22-hour shoots meant he was gone before his children woke up and still gone long after they went to bed. His marriage to Canadian actress Gloria Rand began with love and hope in 1956, but by the late 1960s, it was unraveling under the weight of his ambition. They had 3 daughters, Leslie, Elizabeth, and Melanie. Shatner adored them, but he was never there. He missed birthdays, he missed holidays, he even missed his daughter Elizabeth's school play, because he was locked in yet another shouting match with Leonard Nimoy over lines. His absence became so routine that Gloria once said it felt like she was raising their children alone while married to a ghost. Christmas Day in 1967. Fans were unwrapping presents by the tree. Shatner was stuck under the hot lights of a studio filming The Gamesters of Triskelion. That single moment haunted him for decades. The image of his family celebrating without him while he gave his life to a show that would soon be canceled. By June 1969, Star Trek was gone, canceled after just 3 seasons. And within weeks, so was his marriage. Gloria filed for divorce, citing emotional distance and abandonment. In one brutal stroke, Shatner lost not just his show, but his family. He later admitted in interviews that he still counts the dinners he missed with his children. 217 family dinners, gone forever. That's not just a number, that's years of laughter, milestones, and memories he can never get back. The fearless Captain Kirk, who saved galaxies on screen, was powerless to save his own home. And if he thought life had hit rock bottom then, he had no idea how much lower it was about to go. Now at 93, Shatner admits he wasn't the fearless leader fans imagined. He was ambitious, insecure, and often made mistakes. But that vulnerability makes his story more human and more powerful. The man who embodied courage on screen was also the man who paid the price for it off screen. So, was William Shatner unfairly judged by his castmates? Or did his ambition make him the true villain of the Star Trek set? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories of Hollywood icons. If you enjoyed this story, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It really makes us smile. And if you're hungry for more fascinating tales, check out the 2 videos right below. You might just discover your next favorite story.